one of the themes of Neverending Nightmares is descent, and the way that comes into play is how we're structuring the game. So, basically, since everything is a nightmare and you're going through this series of nightmares, we have this sort of balance of the realistic versus the fantastic, and basically the way we want to do it is the beginning content is more realistic. There's less elements of the fantastic, and as you continue your journey through the narrative and these series of nightmares, everything gets more and more fantastic, and there's more of these completely unreal dream elements, and so it's definitely interesting to try and structure and plan everything that way, but I think it's sort of important to the story we're telling and doing tension. So basically, we're trying to start not too bad. I mean, obviously we have to start with some tension and then just ratchet it up, and at least my plan, I'm hoping the final level will be like the tension will be at 11. Everything will be super crazy and super intense, and while I think this could work well for our game, I don't think it could work well for every game, because one of the things we're trying to do is short playthroughs. So a playthrough will be 1 to 3 hours, and I think in that time you can definitely keep ratcheting up the tension, but I think if you're have a 6 or 10 hour game that you have to do some more tense situations and then back it down, and do that sort of back and forth. And that's one of the things I think Silent Hill does really well with the Otherworld, is they give you some Otherworld stuff and then you're back to regular world and then Otherworld, and so they can sort of keep playing with the tension, so you're you have time to sort of recuperate before things are really intense again. Although, I mean, even the regular world in Silent Hill is not very welcoming. The interesting thing is how this relates to a demo. I mentioned in a Kickstarter update that we have to have free-to-play content on the Ouya store, so basically a demo. I mean, assuming we're not doing a microtransaction based game, which we're not, but it's sort of interesting to think about this in the context of a demo, because if things are descending, your demo content, I mean, assuming you want to do essentially a if you want to keep playing, pay us money prompt, which I think is really probably the best way to upsell your game, because they can keep playing uninterrupted. But because of that, it's like our first level's not going to be our most exciting. It's going to be regularly, I mean, pretty regular. And I mean, right now we have a few jump scares and some interesting stuff in there, but it's mostly to sort of introduce you to the world and set the stage for the future content. So the demo level on the Kickstarter is actually the second level in the game, and so this will go before it and introduce some of the story elements that are more or less absent from the Kickstarter demo. I mean, just because of time, and we had to get the demo out there before we ran out of money. But I'm kind of wondering if doing something like in Silent Hill 3, where they start in sort of a tense thing, would be better for sort of upselling, better for hooking people in on the demo. But and certainly because we're all in nightmares, that would be very easy to do. But it doesn't really mesh with the goals of the game and the story and the experience. And I guess, we're more in line with Silent Hill 2, which begins with an even literal descent as you walk, down the hill from the parking lot into the fog, which I think was really good, almost symbolic action, as well as really, sets the mood. So, I mean, I'd almost like to not give people a demo. Certainly, that's not an option on Ouya. We probably won't on PC, Mac, and Linux. Just because, like, it's really hard to do a good demo. And I've had friends who apparently big companies did study, and to some extent, like, demos, at least their conclusion was demos are only convincing, people not to buy the game. Like, if you were going to buy the game and you played the demo and then you say, well, maybe I won't, but no one plays the demo and says, I'm going to buy this game now, which I think is probably not entirely accurate. I mean, maybe it's a question of numbers, or depends if you're marketing or not. But I mean, at least initially, I think on platforms where we can't have a demo, we probably won't, just because I like the idea of people coming in with some sort of commitment to the game, and especially given the prevalence of these indie sales and things like that. I think asking people to pay $5, $7, or whatever to try your game is not that unreasonable. And certainly, if you have a $60 game, that might not be the case. Yeah, definitely. We're working on the starting level now, and that'll be in the alpha build. I don't know, let's say a couple weeks, maybe next month. And so I'm interested to see what you guys think, because I don't know. It's strange, trying to make something not super tense, because I spend countless hours trying to think of ways to really be intense and really scare people and create this oppressive atmosphere, but we're trying to sort of dial it down, and so it's like I don't know, we may even have like too many jump scares in there, for the purposes of introducing you to something that is relatively real and not fantastical, which, I mean, certainly I think the current Kickstarter demo has some elements of the fantastic, but is somewhat grounded in the real world of the game, which I'm really excited to eventually work on the concept, the content in the game, where basically it's not really grounded at all. It's just crazy nightmare escape. So anyway, that's my thoughts on Descent. Hope you enjoyed them.